Hello everyone, Hammad here. Welcome to my channel, Cloud with Hammad, DIY Cloud Learning to Inspire. For today, our cloud series is to install Kubernetes on Ubuntu using VMware. During the process, I will deploy 4 machines which would have 1 master and 3 worker nodes. Now before we start installing Kubernetes, if you are new to my channel, please subscribe, like, and share. I would really appreciate it. Now without further delay, let's go to our notes. Alright guys, so from our notes, our agenda for today is to install Ubuntu on VMware. After that, we will have Dockers installed, Kubernetes installed, and then once we have installed and configured Kubernetes, we will clone those into 3 further machines and then configure them into Knode 1, Knode 2, and Knode 3. We'll change the host name and IP addresses for those so that they have a static IP, and then we'll also configure the network and interfaces. All the commands are up here, which I have put it up in my Git rep. You can get here to my hub and then Kubernetes, and then the file name is Kubernetes configuration. During this process, I have also left some links, and these links are the links which have Ubuntu installation, Ubuntu download, Docker installation, Kubernetes installation, network add-ons, and that's about it. After this process, we will do a summary, and once we are done with the summary, you should be able to install Kubernetes on your own. Now, without further delay, let's go start installing the solution. Alright guys, so on our VM workstation 16, I would go ahead and click on new virtual machine, typical installation. Next, I would just install the operating system later. Next, select VM Linux version Ubuntu. You can select whichever. I have 64-bit, so I'll just 64. Click next. I would give name kmaster, and I would just change the destination. I created a couple of folders so that I can dump all those files in those folders. Easier for me to delete later on. So just kmaster. So I would click here, next, and then 20 GB is good enough. I've tried it in 50 GB as well. I would just keep it 20 GB. It depends on the size of your hard drive you have. Click next, finish. And then once you get to finish, you would just make sure you show the machine where the installation file is. Click on to CD drive and DVD. Use ISO, browse, and then you have, I copied the Ubuntu file from the website. If you look up here, I'm just going to bring my screen here. I went to Ubuntu download and I selected Ubuntu 2010 from there. Click OK, and then hit the power. So it's going to start doing the installation now. Alright, so once we get here, you just want to make sure you select the install Ubuntu on the hard drive. It's going to ask you a series of questions. Just respond keyboard, US English. Minimum installation, third-party software, graphics. Installation type, you will just leave it default. Next. Continue. Select your location. Type in your name if you want to, Hammad. Machine name kmaster, and username kmaster. I would just type in password. And it's going to start installing the file. Alright guys, so the installation is complete. We will hit restart now. It's gonna restart the machine, and then we will get into setting some Dockers, and then we will go Kubernetes. Alright guys, so once we get to this point, hit enter, and we have removed the drive. Now the next step is to configure Ubuntu. So we're going to log into Ubuntu with your user ID that we created. This is the first time logging into Ubuntu, and we're just going to wait till it loads up. Alright, so for the initial setup, if you are going to be using this as a primary machine, you should select one of those. I won't be, so I will just skip this. I don't need to send any system info, and then no need for location services, and that's it. You are done installing Ubuntu on VM, virtual machine. Alright guys, so first thing we will do is run some commands. Right click on it and open terminal. Once we get here, log in as a root user. Okay, so once that is done, clear. Now, as I mentioned, all my notes, all the steps to install Dockers, Kubernetes are on my GitHub repo. Get to Kubernetes, look for Kubernetes configuration. All the steps are here. What I'm going to do is I have already copied this everything in a notes for easy for me to work in between the two screens. So let's start installing these things so that we are going to install first a couple of tools like SSH. Want to make sure we have updated. Alright, now we're going to install PuTTY. Sorry, we're going to install SSH for PuTTY. I will leave all the links on, everything is there. These are all the links that you will be needing to install all of the Dockers, Kubernetes, VM plugin. So everything is in here. I will leave them in the video description. So this is basically installing the net tool. Sorry, this is installing SSH. Check. This is installed. Yep, it's running. Make sure we have allow firewall to have enabled port 22. That's it. Clear this out. Now the next step is to install Dockers. Want to make sure we disable the swap. By disabling swap, you will also prevent memory algorithms from doing unnecessary operations. So we will do that. And then we want to make sure that the UUID, the partition, is hashed out. Now we're going to have IP table see bridge traffic. So for that, we want to make sure we have this command. We do a system CTL. System CTL is basically a software utility for Unix-like operating system, and it modifies attributes like system kernel or something like that. That's it. All right, so I think most of our stuff is done to the basic work. Now what we're going to do is we will install Dockers. This is the reference document if you want to install Dockers. I have another open for Docker website. This is the Ubuntu Docker installation. First thing is to make sure that we don't have anything installed. This is a new machine, so we don't have anything anyways. So the next step is to start installing using the repo. So everything is in here. So I'm just going to follow the notes, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So we get here. Just to save ourselves some time. Now the next step is to add Docker's official GPG key. All right, so the next step is to basically, you can verify the fingerprint with all these, but I'm just going to skip that because I know it works. And then you will following set stable repo. So copy this here. Paste, hit enter. Enter to continue. Docker CE and CLI installation. Copy this here. Enter. Now the Docker is installed. Now the next step is to install Kubernetes. Once we get here, want to make sure you also install Docker daemon as well. So for that, I would just service folder. I would reload the daemon. Enable the Docker. Restart. Clear. Systemctl status Docker. So the Docker is running. All right. Control C, CL, ER. So the Docker is installed. The next step for this would be to install kubeadmin, Cubelet, and kubectl. So for that, we just get here, copy. Okay, before you do that, we also want to make sure I show you this. This is where you will find all these commands. You know, all these commands. It's on my text file. It's in here. These are the two documents that you need to take a look at it. Okay, so in this, basically we are updating it, installing without any question, like, you know, yes, and then curl command. So once we install the curl command, we will curl the GPG key. Once again, we'll get an update. .18 version, it's up here. We're gonna pick a 1.18 for all three of them, which is Cubelet, kubeadmin, and kubectl. Once that is installed, we will hold them to the version that we have, which is 18.8. Alright, while it was stalling, I actually got the size a little bigger for everyone to see. Now we will just hold all the Cubelet, kubeadmin, kubectl version. And the next thing is we will synchronize the time. You can set up based out of your city. I am already set up because I set up the machine as Los Angeles, so it's picked up my local time. Now, the next step is to reboot. Want to make sure we reboot. Alright, so we're back in the desktop. Sudo su All right, so the next step is to ensure that we have, we'll basically integrate some add-ons. Before we do that, we want to make sure that we run the init command. Before we do that, actually, we need to start creating some nodes. First thing first, make sure that we have a couple of commands that are in there, nano etc host, and we have host as kmaster x nano etc host name. This should be kmaster as well. You need to do this for all the 3 nodes that we'll be creating. Networks, network interfaces, and then for the interface you need to make sure that you are so every time the machine will reboot, it will change IP addresses. So what we do is we will make basically what in the interfaces we will fix the IP. So we'll give them as a static IP. Whatever next time reboots, it just picks up the same IP. For that, this is the command that you need. And over here, you just need to change your IP address. I want to make sure I am using the right IP. Is 192.168.199. Minimize this. Nope. Okay, just fumble here. One nine nine 147. Go up here. I would say 192.168.199.147. This is to start to make sure that whenever next time your machine reboots, it will pick up this IP address. Okay, yes, and click enter. And that's it, you're done. So your master node is now set up. What about the other 2 nodes? So what we do is, instead of to save some time, I will clone those nodes. I will show you how to clone them in the first one, and then I will pause the video. I'll make some 2 more VMs, and then we'll come back to the setting. So in order for you to clone this, just go ahead and hit power off. Once you hit power off, and that's it, you're done. So what you do is you click here, VM, manage, and clone. Once you hit manage, clone, click next. You want to make sure the current state, basically you're taking a snapshot. So the current basically you will use this. I will say, create a linked clone. I would use it as a this basically, the difference between 2 is this is a full clone. I mean, you don't need the original kmaster for running the other nodes, but for me, I'm just using for test purposes and lab purposes. So I'm just going to use this. A linked clone is a reference to the original virtual machine and requires less disk space to store. However, it cannot run without access to the original virtual machine. I'm just doing the lab, so I'm just going to use this. Otherwise, if you want to continue to use for something else, you just use current full clone. I would say knode01. Location. If you remember, I said, hey, I create a couple of folders so that I can eventually delete them. Knode1, click OK, finished, and it cloned it. So now you should see coming up quickly. Turn back up. So I'm logged into node 1. So this is a clone machine. It will have same thing, same information as kmaster, but we'll make some changes on the host name so that next time we reboot, it would have the knode01. You will see in a second here. All right, so log into knode01.
Okay, you're logged into the Knode01. You open the terminal, and then you would do if config, and this is 148. All right, so again, clear this. Sudo su. All right, so we logged in. So if I do if config, so this is 148 for Knode01 and for master 147. So this is a static. I just need to make sure I change Knode01 to 148, which would be a static. So for that, what we'll do is we'll change host name and network interface for all my nodes. So this is node 1. I'm going to pause the video, and then I will create node 2 and node 3. I will follow the same steps that I'm doing right now on the node 2 and 3. The first step is to check nano etc host. Make sure you change up here. Yes, enter, and then nano etc host name. Over here, I would change to Knode 01. Hit X, yes, enter, and then nano etc network interfaces actually. And then over here you will change this to 148. X, yes, and hit enter. So now all these three, you need to do it on all the 2 nodes. And then you would reboot. I want to make sure I reboot this one as well, because what we'll do is we will shut down this, because we need to make 2 more nodes. So I am going to pause the video, and I will make 2 more nodes, and then I will come right back to the video. Alright guys, welcome back. So I did install, last I left off was to install 1 Knode. I did clone 2 more, Knode 2 and Knode 3. I did the same process of giving them the host name, network. I changed the IP, so the last one, Knode 3, the IP is 150, which is a static, Knode 2 149, and then Knode 3 148, and then the master. So we got 4 nodes running. Now the next step is to make sure, even though we have set this in the system, we need to make sure that we manually set the networks. So click here, up here, and then wired setting. And then on your networks, come up here. And then these are the IP settings that you have. So you want to make sure that you force them. So I would just copy this information, get here on the IPv4, and then change from automatic to manual. Over here, you need to make sure you specify your IP address, the one that you have up here for the master. So it's 192.168.199.147. That is the master one. And then the net mask is 255.255.255.0. And So, and then for gateway, I would just do 192. Give me 1 second here. Two. And for, let's say, if you want to give a DNS address, you want to make sure you specify the DNS address as well. So I would just say 192.168.199.2, 8.8.8.8, and I would hit apply. Off, on, and it should have the same IP as a manual set here. And you need to do this for all of them. 147, and then close this. Go here, same thing. A little complicated, but it works out. Here, this is 148. Come up here. All right, so all of them are done. We will go back to our Knode master, not node, Kmaster, and then we will start applying some sort of, so the next step is to do a kube admin init, because we have done most of the legwork. So let's do a kube admin init. This is the command on the master only, because you will, once you have this, it will generate home folder. It's doing it. It takes time, so just be patient with it. I'm just gonna drop this font. Seems like awful lot. So it's pulling the image for kubeadmin. So once this is installed, it will give us some home directory as well as a key to run it on to the other nodes to join them to the master. All right, guys, so this is done. Your Kubernetes control panel has initiated successfully. And so what we do is to start using cluster, you need to run the following as a regular user. So I need to make sure I copy this and only onto the master one and paste, and then hit enter. Once that is done, now we need to basically we need to go, this is the, okay, yeah, this is actually the key that I need to join the rest of the 1, 2, and 3. Before do that, let's check something out. So kubectl get nodes, and then you can see we have a kmaster that is not ready right now, because it will be ready once I have. So in order for us to ensure that this is ready, there is another command that is used, an add-on for the network. It's called it's from VMware, VNet command. It is basically creates a virtual network that connects Dockers containers across multiple hosts and enable their automatic discovery. With VNet,
portable microservices-based application consists of multiple containers, can run anywhere. So we need to use, we need to run this to make sure that all the nodes are connected. So in order to do that, you want to make sure that you run this command. This is also on the GitHub link I have put up there, so it's up here. So if I go all the way at the bottom, you should see this here add-on. Okay, so go copy this and run this here. Once you run this here, it has done the rebinding, and now what I need to do is and then again copy this key and start running onto the node 1. Paste, hit enter, come here, basically you're joining the nodes. So it says it successfully has joined the cluster. So K node is here. So I would go up here. I run this here first. This is the token that was generated by master. So once we run this token onto the K node 1, 2, and 3, it will basically join. So you can see this is almost done. This is done. So if I do watch K node, sorry, kubectl get nodes, you should see that node 1 is ready, node 2 is ready, and node 3 is, I'm running this, right? So this is run, this is done. So this should come up in a second. So you should see it should start coming up in few seconds. That shows that, hey, your K node master and your K node 0, 1, and 2, 1, 2, and 3 are ready. So once this usually takes a few minutes, and this should come up. All right, there you go. All the nodes are done. So you have a master server and you got 3 worker nodes, and you can see they all are in ready status. So this concludes the lab we have. What we'll do is clear. Let's do a quick deployment for you to see. Let's do one thing here. I think we had, let's open another one. And so we have successfully completed the lab. I'm just going to show you how it works so that you have it for future reference. So there's a service running for Kubernetes. I come up here, sudo su. You don't have to. I would say kubectl get nodes. There are 3 nodes. Kubectl get pods. There's nothing. So let's do a quick deployment. Kubectl create
deployment. I would give the name, DEPLOY, of the name of the deployment, image equal to nginx, and then hit enter, and then it deployed a solution, I would say a deployment. In your right, you can see that it has run a deployment with the scale set of 1 desired, 1 current, and 1 pod. So if you want to scale that, so kubectl scale deploy equal to 10. I think I put I need to give the name as well. So you can see there will be a 10 container started to create. Since I kept it as a 2 meg, sorry, the RAM is a little bit low, so you can see that it's starting to create 10 of them for deployment. I'm going to change the size of the RAM as well later on. But this is how it works. So guys, you already saw how I, so just to summarize, let's go back quickly. So what we did was we installed Ubuntu on VM, we installed Docker, we installed Kubernetes, and then once we did everything, we basically cloned the first master node in 3 more, and then we changed their names, the host name to knode 01, 02, and 03, and then make sure that host name and IP addresses are static by running the command, and also went to the network and changed it manually to ensure that the IP address stays the same. And then we basically ran the kube admin init command to get the home directory as well as the token. Once we got the token, we ran the token onto the other 3 nodes, and that's about it. So this is how you deploy Kubernetes master node and clusters on Ubuntu using VMware. I hope you liked the video. So hopefully you really enjoyed it. Hope to come back with another video. Have a great day then. Thank you. Bye.